The internet has been asking the question, can you be friends with a person who is jealous of you? And I think it depends. Are you actually asking the right question, or do you mean to ask, can you be friends with someone who is envious of you? We're going to talk about the distinction between the two, and I'm going to let you know whether or not it's a red, yellow, or green light on this here question. But first, the intro. And welcome back to another episode of the Daily Donna with me, your host, Dr. Donna Oriowo, sex and relationship therapist in the Washington, D.C. metro area, author of Drink Water and Mind Your Business, a Black woman's guide to unlearning the BS and healing self-esteem. And one of the things that often comes up is jealousy and envy, and we'll also talk a little bit about that self-esteem connection. But first, let's talk about the basics, right? I think that a lot of us are asking the wrong question. I don't know that we need to be asking, can you be friends with someone that's jealous? I think we mean to be asking, can you be friends with someone that's envious? Now, why do I think that we need to go ahead and rewrite our question? Because right now we're using envy and jealousy as though they are interchangeable. They're not. They mean two very different things, pulling from two very different emotions. So let's talk about that first. Let's get to defining. We're going to OD this, which means you know what that is. We're going to operationally define our terms. So on the one end, you have jealousy. Jealousy is a fear of loss. This person is worried about losing something. Usually it's the loss of a relationship in the way that they know it. It's the loss of a person. It's the loss of something. But the point is that jealousy pulls from fear. Envy, on the other hand, when someone is green with envy, it's because they want what you got, which is not, again, different emotion. Envy is pulling from desire. It is pulling from that piece of us that wants, that yearns, that is called towards something. Jealousy, on the other hand, is about fear. So can you be friends with someone that's jealous of you? Yeah, because chances are the thing that they're worried about is losing you. They're scared about the change in your relationship. I'm gonna give you a little bit of my personal information. My friend was getting married, and I mean, we talk every morning. Like, we're talking about a friend that I talk to every morning, 7 a.m. Text throughout the day, talk again every evening, around like 5, 6, 7, depending on what's going on for the both of us. I mean, we're constantly on the phone. Now, I like to say that she was my best friend. I was not her best friend. And I say was, she's not dead. She's still alive. She's still awesome. She's still amazing. She's still my friend. But I've also grown out of the idea of best friend status and am more like, no, this is my friend, and I don't want to create hierarchies where hierarchies don't need to exist. A conversation, I think, for another day. But when she got engaged, I remember feeling so damn jealous and envious. I was both, BOAF. And what I was able to see was that I was scared that our relationship was going to change because she was going to have this man and he was going to be living at her house, or, they was going to live at a house together. They was going to have like Sharon. They was going to, do stuff, build a life. And I was worried that it meant the end of our relationship as I knew it. And the thing is, I wasn't wrong. I was right. It was the end of the relationship as I knew it. But it also meant that I got to know her in a completely different way, in a completely different light, and also get to know me as well. It doesn't mean that I was wrong to feel jealous, to feel worried that this person that she was giving her life to, that she was taking his last name, that it didn't mean that something was going to change about our relationship, because things did change about our relationship. But we also found a way to build, to rebuild, and to reacquaint ourselves. And we just had new parameters. I would like to say that the same thing happened when I got married, that there was some jealousy of, again, this changing nature of a relationship. If you see jealousy in your friend, just jealousy, right? That piece that yearns for you, that wants you and wants things in some ways to stay as they are and is scared of the change. Please understand it as something that is very likely coupled with some type of love. They like you. They love you. They want to spend time with you. They want to maintain the relationship that they have with you. And I think that oftentimes we're giving jealousy a bad name and we're removing it from being a part of someone's full humanity to experience that they don't want you to go, that they don't want the relationship they have with you to change. We're not worried about whether or not someone is jealous because that jealousy is, I want to keep you. I want to have a relationship with you. I want to love on you and be loved by you. I want to bask in the glow of the way that you give love. That's jealousy. It doesn't mean that it doesn't get destructive. It doesn't mean that it can't turn nasty. It doesn't mean that it can't turn to a place where there's finger pointing and blaming and all kind of other things going on. But it does mean that it is up to you to sort of figure out that space between their love, your love, and their feelings of jealousy. Envy, on the other hand, that one is like, whoa, what do we do when there's envy? And I think envy is that thing that we're really scared of because envy is, I want what you got. And that piece sounds scary. Now, where it comes to, I want what you got, again, we're talking about someone saying that they have a desire. Are your friends not allowed to have a desire? And maybe to see you living something, and maybe that's the first time that they are coming across the idea that they want the thing that you also have, that they want maybe not the thing even exactly, but what the thing seems to mean, what value, what story they give about this thing. I think I told you just yesterday or a couple days ago that I was envious of my friend, that she is quitting her job and is, about to be doing this whole other thing. And I found myself in a space of envy. And that enviousness is not about her. I don't want her to not have it, right? It's not replacement. It's a recognition of my own desire, that I desire something similar to the thing that she currently has. And I'm allowed to name that I have envy without being throwawayable for having the audacity to have it a human emotion. And right now, I see a lot of people outside saying that you can't be friends with somebody that's jealous of you. You can't be friends with somebody that's envious. Yes, you can. If you can have a conversation with this person that you said is your friend, if they can have a conversation with you because y'all said y'all friends, then it seems to reason that you should be able to have a conversation, because envy is nothing but desire. It is a desire for something that they see that you have, maybe something that they didn't recognize as possible, something that they hadn't considered could be possible, something that they see that you're living that they have wanted for themselves and they're seeing it in action and now they want it more, but it's about desire. It doesn't mean they don't also desire to be your friend. It means that they have a desire for something. Now, if they desire to be you, that is a conversation literally for tomorrow. So we're gonna put a pin in that. But right now, we're just talking about the idea of what envy and jealousy are. So now that we have fully, I say, fleshed out, defined, and I've even given you an example, real life example of what that looks like, I'm just gonna make my request. Can you leave a little room for humanity? Please leave a little room. Now, when you are the person that is feeling jealous, right? When you are worried about the loss of something, the loss of a relationship, the loss of a job, whatever it is that you're jealous about, I think that it's up to you to, number one, be able to name your emotions, right? That's why things like feelings charts exist. Get you one. But being able to know what you feel, I would say body map it, know where you feel in your body, that thing that you feel. But also we need to get into the thoughts, feelings, behaviors of it all. Because just because you feel an emotion doesn't give you the okay or the go ahead to have really ridiculous behaviors. Feeling your envy, feeling your jealousy, that's just it's information. And if we treat emotions as what they are, just information, maybe we can stop thinking that people now need to be thrown away because they experience it, or that it must mean that your relationship is in trouble, because that's not what that means. So if you're on the side of the person who is feeling the thing, who is noting that you have a little enviousness, that you have a little bit of jealousy, that's the moment for you to sit down, consider what you feel, that envy, that jealousy, what other emotions are in it. A lot of emotions, they like to hang out. They best friends. They go together like this, right? Jealousy is not jealousy by itself. Jealousy, like I said, is also fear. Envy is not envy by itself. It's also desire. Track all the emotions that come up in each one. Note where you feel those things in your body, and what thoughts do they give you? The good, the bad, and the ugly. I know that we want to shy away from that ugly, extra jealous sounding, extra envious sounding thought. Don't. Write it down. As a matter of fact, trifold your piece of paper. That means make three parts. On one end, you're putting the feelings. You put jealousy at the top and everything that goes with that jealousy under it. Put envy and put everything that goes with that envy. That's in the first trifold of your trifold. In the second part of the trifold, now we're getting into the thoughts. What are some of the thoughts you think, the things you be thinking that comes up when you think about that jealousy, when you think about where it lives in your body and the extra emotions that are tied to it? So it can be short phrases or whatever. But remember that short phrases do not belong in your emotion space. I know that a lot of us like to be like, I feel like you about to leave me. That's a thought, friend. I feel should be followed with a feelings word. And feel free to get my chart. There are a bunch of charts outside. I'll link it in the description. But the second part is just the thoughts. Write all of them out. Are they for the jealousy or are they for the envy? So you're going to make two parts in your trifold. So the top will be all the things that are related to your jealousy. The second part will be all the things that are related to your enviousness. The last part of your trifold is the behaviors, because behaviors, contrary to popular belief, are things you get to choose, which means that you don't have to become Captain Jackass to your friend. You can be able to say, like, okay, here's what I notice. Here's how I'm handling it. I want you to know that I'm actually happy for you. I like that you have this thing and I want you to have the things that you have. And I recognize that I might be a little sad for me, that I might be feeling like I realize how much I do want this thing. And since you have been able to get it, I would really like your help. If you could help me to strategize about how I can also get this thing that I desire. That's called friendship, friend. If you are on the receiving end of jealousy and or envy, which I also have been, I've been the one to dole it out, but I've also been the one to receive it. When I have received it, we've had a conversation because I noticed it and I decided that the friendship that I had with the person was worth it. As a person on the receiving end of jealousy and envy, it's going to be up to you to determine if you are willing to have the next piece, right? If you're willing to have it out with them, if that person is someone that you want to keep in your world. That means recognizing what harms you have received. You might need to write them down, or the things that you've noticed. Write them down, keep a list, and create time where you and this person can talk, where you can bring it to them in a way that you know that they will receive it. Do not do this when there's a bunch of people around. This is not an intervention, it's a conversation. What I have done in the past is I will invite that person, like, hey, do you have a couple of hours? I'd love to have a conversation with you about something that I noticed. Right? Sometimes it's as simple as sending a text message. Hey, I noticed some shifts in our relationship and I would really love to be able to talk about that. It lets them know that you notice something, number one. And number two, it lets them know that you still want to know them and that you want to have the conversation with them. Let's not create friction where friction doesn't need to exist. After you do that, you lay it out. Here's what I notice. And I don't want to name feelings for you, but I think there may be some jealousy or some enviousness here. And I thought, well, if I were in your position, I might be feeling a way too. So I just wanted to give us both room to have the conversation. Now, if you find that my saying that put a little bubble in your gut, made you feel like you had to go to the bathroom and boo boo real bad, if you felt your heart rate your heart start jumping out your chest, it might be time for you to consider what's going on in your friendship with this person. Are you allowed to show up fully as you are? Are they allowed to show up fully as they are? Because quiet as it's kept, some of y'all don't have a friendship, you have a performance. Some of you don't have a friend, you have a flunky. Some of you don't have a friend, you have an associate. They associate with you and they want to associate with the good things that you have, but they don't like you. Some of you don't like them. I think it's fair for you to be able to name that. And I think that usually the way I would say to start is with my relationship goals guide. The relationship goals guide lets you, the whole point of it is to deep dive into your relationship, what it was, what it is, what you want it to be, so that you can go into the conversation with a clear head. And sometimes even to know whether or not you need to be having that conversation, because maybe it's that y'all are not actually friends. And I think that that is also okay for you to name. Sometimes we are friendly, but we are not friends with people. Being able to make the distinction between the two can save you a lot of heartache. So I have now told you, we've gone through the definition. I've asked you to leave a little room for humanity, because emotions are nothing but information. They're just telling you what's going on in your world, in your universe, as you are reacting to your universe and to what is going on outside and around you, and how those two things are making peace with one another. Which means that I don't know about you, but I'm not interested in turning off people's humanity and saying that they can't be my friend because they have jealousy or because they have envy. I want their behaviors to determine that. And sometimes some behaviors are forgiven or forgivable. And low key, high key, some of y'all will forgive crusty partners before you will ever forgive a friend. I think maybe it's time for us to also examine why we're willing to throw away a friend, but that lover can hurt you every way, but they'll turn you every which way but loose, but you'll stay. I think that's also something for us to go ahead and to look into. Now, quick part 2, 3, whatever part we're on for this conversation. Jealousy and envy also have, I think, a space in the way that we examine and see ourselves, right? That self concept. Self concept, as I have said time and time again, self concept informs our self esteem. No, if you don't know who you are, self concept, you cannot like who you are, self esteem. So, with the self concept piece, if you have been told that you are petty and jealous, and we have this idea also from society that jealous people and envious people are people that you can't have a relationship with, that you can't be friends, then what we are also doing is telling someone that if they have those feelings at all, they should feel a sense of shame. Shame, again, is something is wrong with me, not guilt, which is I did something wrong. And when we're telling somebody that something is wrong with them because they are experiencing these very human emotions, what it does is it requires people to hide it. It cuts off conversations at the knees. And then we're wondering why we are only figuring out a year down the line after they've hurt us horribly. Why? Oh, they're jealous. Oh, they're envious. And that's why I can't be their friend. It's not that you can't be their friend because of that. You can't be their friend because of the shame and the way that the shame has interacted in your relationship, creating behaviors that didn't need to be there. When we allow people their full humanity without judgment, when we allow a little bit of room, now you can have a conversation with somebody. But when the self concept, when that jealousy, when that enviousness mixes with that shame, shame requires us to hide ourselves, to put ourselves in the corner, to shove these feelings aside and down, lest someone else see them, lest someone else know them. But the thing is, everybody thinks they're a great actor. You're not. You're not. Because those feelings that you shove down, They come out in your behaviors, they come out in your thoughts. And while some of the thoughts will be obvious and you'll bat them away, like, ooh, right? Like little gnats. Sometimes what happens is they just become the air you breathe. In every inhale and exhale, you'll be living, you'll be breathing that jealousy, that enviousness, because you can't even experience it. So it impacts not only your concept of self, but also how you feel about yourself. Your self-esteem becomes cannon fodder when you're not allowed to be a full human because you're trying to pretend to be something so that you can seem like you don't have feelings of jealousy or envy. Those things are normal. Experiencing them is normal. Now, the other piece of it, I don't like my friend, I want to be my friend. That's something else. And again, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But where it comes to this piece, if they do something that is harmful that you don't like, I think that's a conversation. I think that is, hey, what's going on? I think we need to have a conversation. The changing of the world around you and the world within you as you're both living means that at some point you have to reconnect and have a conversation. I know that everybody wants to say, well, that friend must be a leaf or that friend must be a branch because they're not a root. Plants need to be tended to at all their parts, which means your friendships, your relationships with your lovers, with your family, they also require the same level of attention. If you're only ever thinking that they didn't do exactly what I wanted, they didn't feel, or they had the audacity to have a feeling that I don't want them to have, what you're saying is that you also are willing to deny your friend, the person that you say you care about, the very humanity that they have every right to experience. And that says that you probably aren't that good a friend either. I said what I said, I don't take it back. I know that we all have our thoughts about jealousy and envy, but if we could open our minds to the possibility that maybe what we have been taught is incorrect, and that all it does is actually create a hierarchy that helps to support the idea that the only relationships that are worth having are romantic, and that's where the only place where you would offer forgiveness, maybe we could change a thing or two. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So go ahead and hit me in the comments, friend. Have you ever been jealous? Have you ever been envious? Has somebody ever been envious or jealous of you? How do you know? And how will you tap back into your humanity and allow a little room for someone that you care about to tap back into theirs? Hit me in the comments, friend. You know how I like it. Discourse, not disrespect. Keep it cute. All right, that's it for today. I am Dr. Donna. This is the Daily Donna, and I will see you when tomorrow for that conversation specifically about people who might try to be you. Bye.